In this example, we are going to learn how to determine the optimum spacetime in a mixed flow reactor for a series reaction. We have a hypothetical reaction network, A going to R with a rate constant K1, and R is going to S with another rate constant S. The reaction is going to be carried out in a mixed flow reactor, and our reactions are elementary. Our reactor volume is constant. Now, when we write the species conservation equations for A, R, and S, in the traditional sense, for a steady state mixed flow reactor, we have three sets of relationships. We are under steady state conditions. We have only A coming in, so those terms drop out. We have in the outgoing stream A, R, and S, and our rates are elementary. So let's generate our rate expressions for this simple reaction network. I will call this R1 and R2. R1 is K1 times Ca, and our reactions are elementary and irreversible. R2 is K2 times Cr. Given this, Ra is equal to minus R1, Rr is equal to R1 minus R2, and Rs is equal to R2. So let's substitute them with their corresponding concentration terms. Minus Fa. Fa is V, volumetric flow rate, Fa0. Let me see. Fa0 minus Fa plus minus K1 Ca times V. This is minus Fr Rr is R1 minus R2 plus K1 Ca minus K2 Cr times V, and this is equal to minus Fs plus Rs is equal to R2 K2 Cr times V. we're going to substitute FA zeros, FRs in terms of volumetric flow rates and concentrations. We have V, our volume is constant, volumetric flow rate is constant. V times Ca0 minus Ca plus minus K1 Ca times V is equal to 0. Because of this whole reaction network equations can be solved without defining reaction extents. We will do that. Fr is minus V times Cr plus K1 times Ca minus K2 times Cr times V. This is equal to 0. And this is minus V times Cs plus K2 Cr times V. This is also 0. This set of algebraic equations are mathematically, algebraically, analytically accessible. So the solution of the set of equations give us concentration of A in terms of initial concentration of A, the space-time, and the rate constant of the first reaction, concentration of R in terms of initial concentration of A, space-time, rate constant of the first reaction, as well as the second reaction, the concentration of S in terms of the initial concentration of A, space-time, and the two rate constants. Now we are going to look at these equations from a graphical perspective, where we are going to plot the concentrations of species I as a function of space-time. You see, when space-time is equal to 0, Ca is equal to Ca0. And as space-time goes to infinity, Ca asymptotically approaches to 0. So this is the behavior of Ca as a function of space-time. The longer the space-time, the less the exit concentration of A. When space-time is equal to 0, Cr and Cs are 0, so they start from 0. The behavior of R and S are slightly different. As tau goes to infinity, Cs goes to Ca0. When tau goes to infinity, these terms become much larger than 1, and that tau square K1, K2 terms cancel, and Cs goes to Ca0. So this is the limiting concentration of Ca0, Cs. It's going to be Ca0. Asymptotically, it will reach to Ca0. This is how Cs will behave. It will pretty much reflect the opposite behavior of Ca. But Cr is going to go through a maximum. So this is Ca, this is Cs, and this is going to be Cr. So the shapes and the positions of the maxima will strongly depend on the relative values of K1 and K2. So if my objective is to have the maximum amount of R, I should maintain this reactor operating at this optimum spacetime. This is one aspect of designing this reactor. But remember, those K's are not universal constants. Those K's are strongly depend on temperature. So in the second layer of analysis, we should take the reaction energetics into consideration and identify an optimum temperature that is going to give most R, if that's our desired product. If our desired product is S, of course we have to let the reaction run forever and have everything converted to S. In this series type of reaction, we can do few more tricks. We can apply few more tricks. What are those tricks? If we can remove R before it starts to form S at low concentrations, if there is a technology that I can remove R from the reactor before S starts to form, I'm good. I don't have to optimize this reactor. I can use any reactor, but now I am going to use a separation technology to remove R. So let us also mention those tricks or tools of the trade. If R is desired, we can use an optimum. Get a simple Cstr and find the optimum tau and operate your reactor at that optimum tau. You can keep concentration of R as low as possible. It means that keep adding A without removing contents. In other words, run a semi-batch reactor. When you dilute the reactor, when you reduce the concentration of R, the rate of going to S is going to slow down. Use a semi-batch reactor. And add A continuously. All right, now we are doing now engineering. We can, if possible, remove R as soon as it is formed. Well, this is not trivial. How can we remove R? There are several tricks depending upon the nature of the R and nature of the separation technologies available to us. For example, if there is a good boiling point difference between R and the rest of the reactor contents, we can maintain the reactor at a temperature that will evaporate R and maintain the rest of the contents within the reactor. What I described was a distillation column reactor. We can remove R if R permits us, if the molecular structures allow us to do so. We can remove R by using a membrane. or we can use an absorbent to remove R to avoid its formation, continuing to formation to S. Right? Find the separation method. You can remove R. We should also find an optimum temperature as well. Some of the tricks that we can use to maximize R. Because if it is possible to remove R as soon as it is formed, we don't have to deal with the separation issues here. Now say that we have taken this optimum reactor space-time and we removed the content. Right. At the effluent, I have so much Cr, so much Ca, and so much Cs. So I have a mixture. Still, I have to separate R from A from S. If S is undesired, I have wasted some of my useful reactant for a useless product. And also, that introduced a separation problem, which I have to solve. And also, I need to separate valuable reactant from the rest of it to recycle it back. I have a separation unit cost. I have a cost of waste management in terms of S. And I have to add, on top of everything, cost of recycling equipment for making better economics of the reactants. So maximizing selectivity is a critical issue that we have to deal with in chemical reaction engineering, and most of the course from this point on will be dedicated to understand the complexities of reactions and dealing with for maximizing the selectivities.